Hi, I'm Christopher Janes, Mercer's founder and CTO. Thanks for taking the time to view the product demo of Solstice. It's going to show you some of the details about the product itself and some of the usability, but I also want to make sure you understand why it's important. Solstice allows any user to walk into the room and share content wirelessly from any device that you brought to the meeting. It'll make your meeting start faster, it'll make more people contribute, it'll allow collaboration in ways that you haven't been able to do before when the video cable defined those meetings. So you can get Solstice on the Solstice Pod. This is an appliance, it's turnkey, or you can download software from our website and install it on an existing room PC. I'm now going to have Aaron take you through the product demo.
To start, I'd like to show you a topology diagram that depicts a typical Solstice-enabled conference room setup. Let's jump into the diagram. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the Solstice display. This is the main display in your conference room, classroom, or meeting room. It can be a flat panel, projector, or a video wall. This display will need to be connected via a video cable to a Solstice Pod or a Windows 7, 8, or 10 PC that is running the Solstice display software. The Pod or Windows PC is connected to the network. The Pod offers both wireless and wired network connectivity options. Let's move to the left side of the diagram. On the client side, we support Mac OS X, iOS, Android, and Windows XP 7, 8, and 10. These client devices need to be on the same network as the Solstice Pod or the Windows host in order to discover, connect, and share to the Solstice displays. The purple dashed lines denote network connections that can be either wired Ethernet or Wi-Fi. This is a simple network diagram, but Solstice is all routable TCP traffic, so it can cross subnets or VLANs. Just like any other IT service, it can be routed to discover and communicate across your network. Before you can get started with Solstice, you need to install client software on your laptop or mobile device. Please note that admin rights are not required in order to do this. The Solstice display has a built-in welcome screen that informs users of how to get the Solstice client software onto their client devices. To access the client software for the first time, we'll open a browser on the client machine and enter the IP address visible on the Solstice display. It's worth mentioning that the browser connects to the Solstice display host locally. You do not need to be connected to the internet. Clicking Connect will download the client application, or it will redirect iOS and Android users to their respective app store where they can download the free Solstice client app. Once downloaded, the Solstice client is now installed on this client device, and users do not need to perform this download again. Now let's get started with the demo. First, let's talk about what's in the room. We're going to share with you a session between 3 Solstice clients on one display. On the right-hand side is the Solstice display, which is the main screen in the conference room. On the left side are the 3 clients: a Windows laptop, a MacBook Pro, and an Android tablet. Each of these represents a user that is in the conference room. The first thing we're going to do is launch the Solstice client on all of the client devices. Once it is launched, you will see a list of available displays for connection. The name of the display is located on the bottom left corner of the Solstice display. If there are a large number of Solstice displays on the network to choose from, you can filter display by tag, such as location or department. You can search for a display by name, or you can enter the IP address visible on the display. Once you identify the display you want to connect to on the list, you can click that display name to connect. We are going to connect to the front conference room display. You might be wondering how we configure the ability to connect to displays for various users, and we're going to visit access control options a bit later. Once connected, users are immediately presented with the sharing panel, which has distinct buttons for sharing options. Sharing options include the ability to mirror your screen, share specific application windows, or share video and image files. Let's start sharing to the display from the Windows client. The simplest way to share is using the Share Desktop option. This option essentially replaces the video cable and sends what we call a post to the shared display that is a mirrored image of my entire desktop. Using the Share Desktop option is best when sharing a video that is not local to your device, such as a YouTube video or Vimeo, because it includes audio streaming support. If you have video or image files that live on your computer, then you can use the Share Media option. Let's add some local media files to the session. One of the big differentiators between Solstice and other products on the market is the ability to share unlimited content on the display. Next, let's share from the MacBook, which provides the same sharing options as with the Windows client. In addition to sharing your entire desktop, Solstice gives Mac and Windows users the option to share specific windows or applications to the session, all as individual posts. This is useful when you don't want to share all the content on your desktop. From this device, we'll share a web browser application window to the display. It's also important to note that I can edit my own content in real time. Then I will also share a PDF to the display as well. Notice that both of these are individual posts on the display. I want to point out the Solstice control panel, which I can access by selecting Control from the navigation menu on the left side of the user interface. The control panel feature allows any connected user to control any content on the display, regardless of who posted the content. I can use the WYSIWYG, or what you see is what you get, interface to move other users' posts around the display and control the layout. This area to the left is called the On Deck area, which is an important feature of the product because it serves as a media queue where you can stage or sequence content to be brought into the meeting or presentation. If I long press on any post, I get the media menu with options such as full screen and delete. When I choose full screen, it moves all other posts to the deck. Using the media placement menu, which you can find here, you can access media placement options like move all posts to deck or to screen, and it also allows you to align to grid or choose freeform. By default, all posts are neatly arranged in a grid in their native aspect ratio. Freeform mode allows you to dynamically adjust the posts. Once in freeform mode, you can drag, pinch, and zoom on the post to resize or move posts around the display. And then you realign to grid using the same placement menu. Next, I will show you how to mirror an iOS device to the display. To enable mirroring, be sure your Solstice client app is open and you are connected to the Solstice display you want to mirror to. If you click Mirror Screen from your iOS device, you will see instructions on how to mirror with AirPlay. Swipe up from the bottom of the screen and select the AirPlay option. The front conference room display shows up on the list of AirPlay receivers. Toggle on Mirroring, and then you'll see the iOS device mirrored to the display. Now your iOS device will be updated in real time on the display and can be managed the same way other posts can be managed in Solstice. You can share up to 4 simultaneous iOS mirror streams on the Solstice display. Let's look at the other elements of the Solstice client interface before moving on to the display side features. Each of these user avatars, called meeples, in the bottom of the client and the display screen denotes a user connection. The meeple and the content are color-coded to designate the posts that belong to each user. When you click on a meeple, you get a per user menu with options like show all posts from user, hide all posts from user, and more. In addition to the share and control panels, Solstice has a LookIn option and a settings menu. The LookIn option provides a full resolution view of the Solstice display in your web browser. This is important for overflow rooms and non-proximate use cases. Solstice settings and configurations are divided into client-side and host-side settings. Let's talk about client settings, then we can get into the host-side settings, and finally the dashboard. Under the client settings menu, you can change the user access mode, which we'll cover shortly. You can also update general settings and view the software version number. I'm going to move everything back on screen and show the host-side display features. To begin, we want to point out that you can interact with the Solstice display interface in 2 ways. Via a mouse connected to the pod or Windows host, or via a touch-enabled display. And you can control posted media from the display interface the same way you do from the Solstice client UI. The last thing I want to show you is how to configure your Solstice display. This is typically used by the system admin, and it allows them to manage all Solstice endpoints, including network modes, welcome screen branding and customization, user security modes, and enablement of enterprise features. To access the Configure menu, click on the Solstice icon in the bottom right corner of the display and select System and then Configure. Please note that the Solstice pod also supports configuration via a web browser. The configuration menu has controls for security, display name and appearance, usage analytics, licensing, etc. Configuration options can be accessed locally as we just described, or they can be accessed remotely via the Solstice dashboard. Now you know the basics of how to use Solstice. Using Solstice in your meetings improves engagement among meeting attendees and fosters decision-making and productivity. For more information and updates, please follow us on YouTube or check out more resources at mersive.com/resources. For technical questions, or if you need assistance setting up or configuring your display, please visit our customer portal at customersupport.mersive.com.